Travis, Love Will Come Through on XFM 104.9, Ricky Gervais, Steve Merchant, Karl Pilkington, etc. Got some great tunes actually lined up.
Excellent.
I've brought in some Amy Mann, some Neil Young. I'm playing my favourite Clash track. What have you got for us, Steve?
I got a dynamite hip-hop tune by
Yeah.
The Roots, which I think you'll enjoy.
Love it, love it.
Got a little bit of Joni Mitchell, maybe swing that on later.
Oh,
And,
excellent. I nearly brought in some Joni Mitchell. It's a good job I didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it wouldn't have made any difference. It wouldn't have made any difference.
No,
We'd
you'd
have
have probably
played-
played yours, and
yeah.
then I'd have been
Fine.
told to
Go away.
go with a flea in my ear.
Carl, what have you got lined up for us as the producer?
Right, well, Rockbusters.
Been off this week again?
Has he?
Yeah.
Another week off?
Another week off, yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't have a full week off. I had 3 days off
Yeah.
because I was working all over Christmas,
Yeah.
and still didn't stop working, preparing stuff. You've got a nice load of prizes there that
Yeah,
I've sorted
giving
out.
those
I had to
away,
come
yeah.
in especially to sort that out.
Yeah.
Rockbusters.
Did you
will
rifle
continue.
through the drawers up at Capital Gold instead of down
Yeah,
here?
yeah. Rockbusters, we're still doing that.
Yeah.
we've got-
Yeah, you're picking it up.
Yeah.
He's picking it up. Yeah, still doing that.
We've got that. Last week, we sort of changed Educating Ricky a bit. Just a little
Don't
bit.
say we. I don't want to be incriminated in it.
Well, changed it in a sense that rather than giving you too much information about different things, it's hard to sort of keep it all in.
Yeah.
I'm giving you sort of information on one thing. So
Yeah.
last
No,
week,
because some of your stuff was a little bit too intense for me. My favourite story was there was a blind girl, she hit her head and got better, and I couldn't take all that in at once. So you should really ration some of the education.
we sort of
Wasn't
started
last week war-related stories?
Yeah, it was War Do You Think of That then?
What
and
do
it
you
was
think of that?
Sure.
3 things.
And it was the French battle going over the top was John's got a moustache, which you think was ambiguous because someone might have said that anyway.
Well, look, you've remembered it, so it's working. So
Yeah.
we'll be doing that. And last week
Loads
you
of
said
French people have just gone to war who were listening to this.
Yeah.
you said you wanted to learn some science this week.
Did
so yeah. so the title this week for that is Acid. I would sort you some science out. Acid, because that's
How long did that take you to call?
Listen, but you know, that people love Carl. There's comedians come to me and go, Carl's the funniest man. They absolutely love him, right? But I think we're only seeing half of it, right? If we can get him on television, his face then, when he told me that title, was like a child at Christmas.
Yeah.
He was so proud of it. He was excited what I was gonna. It was brilliant.
It's a bit like when a child's drawn a picture in art class. You know you've got to stick it on the fridge,
You've got
but
to,
you basically
yeah.
think it's crap.
Yeah.
It's very much like that.
All right, Carl.
Is that good?
Yes.
So we'll be doing that. Do we need them?
Yeah.
Um,
Have you got another one?
we have got another one. Looking at snails this
Oh,
week.
Do
yeah.
we need snails?
Do we need
Because I know you're not a
snails?
fan of snails, are you?
Well, after a bit of research, I found some good stuff out about like they sleep for 13 years, some of them,
Yeah.
and that. So we'll be looking
Ricky,
into that
you
later.
tried that one. didn't you?
I know. Yeah.
We've got ritual,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is something that I told Ricky about.
Yeah, well, last week's was brilliant. It's
was
good
it?
to have a flathead in India.
It's good to have a flat head in India. I'd
That's
forgotten all about
brilliant. Yeah.
And,
well, I'm
that's
gonna
about it. That's-
I'm gonna just play one of my favourite Smith tracks.
Can I just make a request? So I'd quite like if we've got time to bring back just for 1 week only White Van Carl.
Sure.
Because there's some quite interesting topics this week.
Oh, is there things happening in the world?
There's
Because
some
Carl
things
doesn't think there
happening.
is.
No.
There is a light that never goes out.
What?
Someone's left one of those little things in here. It's brilliant,
It's
isn't it?
amazing. What are they called, those things?
I just imagine that just then I was thinking of being in the front row at a Morrissey concert and going, can I just play along? They are brilliant.
I don't know what kind of sound that is.
I don't know. It's only used for when Kenneth Williams
Yeah, exactly.
sees someone undressing.
Yeah.
That's the only time that is used, that noise. That is
But
brilliant.
it's like it was specially created for the Carry On films.
Yeah, yeah, we need, I don't know what it is, but we need something when I walk in and see someone changing. Well, what about this? There is a light that never goes out by the Smiths. I phoned Carl up in the week, yeah, and I said, what are you doing? He went, well, even though it's one of my days off, I'm just doing some research on the web. Found anything that said, yeah, I'm doing science. And then he said, you can get wigs for dogs in Tokyo. That's his scientific fact. And I went, what do you mean? Dogs, if they need a wig? I said, if they need a wig, what? Dogs going bald? And he went, like, this is fine to him, he went, it's a stressful city, Tokyo. The world's alright with Karl. He's always got an explanation. I've only ever seen him confused once. When, in Edinburgh, he looked out of his window one day and he saw a bloke putting a parking ticket on some rubbish.
Yeah.
And that genuinely confused him.
Yeah.
He couldn't work out, could you?
It's a bit weird, isn't it?
And the woman breastfeeding her 8-year-old child, you didn't like, did you?
I don't like that. But, the what's the name? Animals with wigs. I kind of thought, after I put the phone down to you, I kind of thought about it, thought, yeah, it's a bit daft, that.
Are you sure it's not the ageing pop group?
No.
The Animals?
But when you think, have you ever seen, like, a bald pet?
No.
It's weird.
What do you mean?
Because my mum, we had a cat, we used to get through loads of cats because we lived on a...
Oh, God, it started early today, innit?
What do you mean?
It's only 10 past 1.
What were you doing?
No,
Running a restaurant?
We lived on...
Oh, God, what do you mean?
No, we lived on, like, a main road.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
we used to get through a lot of them. My dad
It was
kept
their
saying,
risk.
you know, stop wasting money, you know, it's not
Stop
good.
wasting money, not wasting cats.
Right, so, anyway, we had this cat that was ill all the time. And,
It's just bag of nerves, probably.
Yeah, malingerer. Yeah, I'm terrified.
I'm going to which house?
Rome. Oh, God, bloody hell. Rome.
Don't let me go to the Pilkingtons.
and it, for some reason, it kept being sick all the time. Right?
Yeah, that is nerves. That's definitely nerves.
So my mum kind of thought, oh, I've had enough of this, and she shaved it.
What? Whoa. 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 Now, I know you're not vets in your family, but what correlation did your mum think there was between you being sick and shaving it?
Because it kept being sick, and it was a pain to wash, because it kept getting
So
caught
she
up.
wanted a dry wipe cat.
So,
Why didn't you just varnish it? What?
it's weird, though.
So now he's cold and sick.
No, but not all of it. She left sort of the back half, but sort of from its waist, sort of.
I love that! Shave it because it's sick on itself!
And
That is
it was the
genius.
weirdest looking thing. I mean, normally I like cats. I'm always like giving yours a stroke on the head and that.
Yeah.
But as soon as she did that, it was like, oh,
Yeah.
can't touch it. And then
So now it's sick, cold, and hated.
Yeah.
I love. Karl.
It must have, I mean, the other cats must have been taking the mick out of it constantly. It's just making things worse. Did it get, I'm hoping that it got run over and was put out of its misery.
no, I think it got all right, that one. Or is that the? Yeah, it did get run over. It did.
Ah! Oh, God. Oh, dear.
How many cats do you say you've got through?
I'd say whilst I was living at home, I mean, it's still on the increase even though I'm not there. So whilst I was there, probably 5.
God.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
And were you upset each time, or you just got used to it?
It's one of them things, isn't it? Like I've said before, when you first see something, it's a bit of a shock. Do you know what I mean? It's like the Elephant Man or whatever.
Yeah.
First time you see him, it's that sort of, oh, look at that.
Do you remember the first time you saw Steve? No, I'm not being funny. Do you remember the first?
Yeah, but I've said this before. It's always then you get used to how people look, and you don't. No.
I'm gonna burst. You have to play a record.
No, but
because I just see Steve's face.
no, but I've got used to it.
Shut up.
Let You Down. Gold Rush on XFM 104.9. Ricky Gervais. Steve Merchant, Karl Pilkington. Brilliant.
Rick,
So-
I was in, I don't know whether I should tell you this because it might rock you to the very core,
Go on.
but I was in an Indian restaurant the other night, and you've not seen the film, have you seen the film Notting Hill?
I haven't, no.
Right, in the film Notting Hill, have you seen that, Carl?
Yeah,
Do you remember the bit, Julia Roberts plays a movie star, rather like Julia
She's the
Roberts.
most famous.
Yeah,
I know
and she's
her.
in a restaurant having dinner with Hugh Grant, and she overhears some people in the restaurant slagging her off, and saying,
Oh, yeah.
she's a slapper, probably all actresses are. And she's sort of stewing on it, and Hugh Grant wants to say something, and she says, "No, I won't let you." And then as she's walking out, she goes and says something to them, and of course their faces drop. They can't believe it's her. Anyway, I was in an Indian restaurant the other night, and they were slagging you off, Rick. Well, what they were saying is they were going, "Oh, Ricky Gervais. The thing about Ricky Gervais is he's just like the character he plays.
Right.
He's just like David Brent in real life." And I was listening in, and I was thinking, well, I want to say something, I want to go over and have a word and say, you know, you're partially right, but I couldn't. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. I couldn't. What could I do? I couldn't really go over there and get into a rumble.
I want to say, what do you mean that I'm like him? I use his face and his vocal cords, but I mean, I can't help that.
But it's that thing as well of, I don't know where they've got this information from.
But no.
Because you're not,
it's
so
received.
they're wrong.
Well,
so
they've received it from somewhere, or they've read it or something. It's just, but I don't know. I mean, I can't really be annoyed that they're just wrong.
But it was very weird.
It's like being annoyed at a vicar believing in God. I can't get annoyed with him. I just don't believe.
But because obviously they didn't recognise me, it's rather like, you know, when they talk about that idea that if you could go to your funeral, what would people be saying about you? It's the closest you could get to that. That you can hear what people are saying about your friends.
But why don't you to get around to that? You go, he is. Yeah. What do you think of the other fella that's sometimes with him? That tall fella. He's good, isn't he?
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
It's a shame actually because on the occasions I do get recognised from minor appearances, I never get any cool fans. I just get the nerds. I get the real nerdlingers. I don't get, you know, beautiful women coming out.
You're putting them off, though. Putting them off. You've got to take what you can.
Well...
But you'll have nothing.
No, I know, but this girl came up the other day and she said, hey, are you that guy who's involved with The Office? I went, oh, yes, I am. She went, my boyfriend loves you. He's over here. And she pointed him out. I was devastated. I thought, I'm in here.
Yeah.
There was nothing going on. But there was a guy who was in HMV, and he was working with the till. He'd been working on the till, and he saw me. He said, would you sign this DVD? I went, oh, no problem. I said, and I was trying to make conversation. I was trying to be frothy, and I said to him, oh, selling well, is it? And he went, it is. Although we've had quite a lot of returns. I said, well, don't tell me that. I don't want to know that.
What did he mean? That they didn't like it?
And I said, what? People have been bringing it back.
No, I think it's glitches.
He said they've been bringing it back. I said, what was the problem? He said they didn't really like it.
No!
Yeah, some of them didn't really like it.
But you can get it back if you don't like it.
No, I mean, I don't know whether they gave him the money back, but certainly that's what he dealt with. That's what he'd encountered.
And then he said we didn't give them the money back, they just wanted to drop it off. What, they didn't even want the money back?
Yeah, they just wanted to get rid of it.
They
didn't want it in the house.
It's like,
I don't want this rubbish in their house.
Oh, but we still get the money for it, do we?
We still get the money, but
Brilliant.
you know, I told you that other time. Again, because people don't recognise me, again, I was in a record shop, there was a stack of Office videos, and this guy went by, and I sort of heard them as they went by, he went, oh, Office, yeah, a lot of people like that. I think it's shit, his mate went, I agree.
Really?
And of course, again, what could I do? I couldn't say anything. I couldn't pipe up and go, well, that's sort of...
Well, I like the fact that you're always hearing these loud vocals.
Yeah.
It's great. What's the chance of that two people? That's brilliant. Maybe everyone's always slagging it off.
But it is partly,
that's it.
Yeah, that's partly it, but also because I keep hanging out by stacks of Office DVDs.
Oh dear.
Wearing a t-shirt with a picture of you and me on it.
Yeah, that'd do it. What we got to play, Carl?
Something that Steve wants.
Well, actually, I must dedicate this to someone who's emailed in. I mentioned earlier that I was going to play some of the Roots, and Joe from Peterborough is very excited about that. So, this is not from the current Roots album, sadly, which I've not fully absorbed yet, and therefore don't feel I can make a decision on which track to play, but maybe that'll come
That's the sort of
sometime in the future.
And thought we put into our... You know, picking music.
Exactly.
I had these cassettes still in my bag from last week.
Sure. Anyway, this is from the album Things Fall Apart. It's The Roots featuring Erykah Badu. You got me. Let's play it.
Yeah, it's going to be structured. Set pieces, hitting our marks. Do you know what I mean? There'll be time checks, weather checks, a bit cold out. If you're driving, careful on that. So do the prizes.
Check for traffic, like if it's bad.
Yeah.
Okay, well, again, an arbitrary selection of goodies.
What are those politicians doing?
Was that XFM News?
Yeah. Right, what have we got?
So we've got, for those that are a fan of the movie Donnie Darko, which a lot of people rave about this year, a sort of weird teenage movie, then there's a sort of sweatshirt there.
It is actually quite nice.
It's not bad at all. It's medium, so if you're a bit of a bloater, don't bother to apply unless you've got a friend already. We've also got here a Graham Norton video, certificate 18. So please don't phone up don't email in unless you're above the age of 18.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, the best of his TV show.
Yeah.
Look forward to that.
It's a big stiff video, that, isn't it? It's a big stiff cock of a video.
Thanks very much.
I meant
you meant the bird.
Yeah.
There's also a fairly mediocre British wartime thriller, Enigma, which a lot of people, it was hyped for a while, but it's actually interminable. I've seen it. The first series here of The Kumars at number 42 on DVD. I think that's award-winning, so that's available as well. We've got 2 CDs by the look of it. We've got Pulp's Greatest Hits, which I don't think sold very well, and so presumably they are giving that away. And Johnny Cash's current album, American For the Man Comes Around, there's some good cover versions there.
Again, another big
including,
sell. A big sell. We're really pushing
But
this.
it's quite kooky. Johnny Cash here does covers of things including Personal Jesus
All right.
by Depeche Mode.
yeah.
We've got Bridge Over Troubled Water, his version of that. Desperado. And anyway, it's not bad. That's probably the best treat in that bunch. And,
Right.
I'm assuming there's some questions there, Carl.
Yeah.
Right, here we go.
If you're a new listener, the way it works, I'll give you a cryptic clue and some initials, and it sort of makes up a band.
Yeah.
Makes more sense when you hear it, I reckon.
Not particularly.
Well, not really. Although
So-
people do get it. I just worry about the state of our listeners. Go on.
Right, so there's 3 of them. You email in ricky.gervais@xfm.co.uk.
It's email only. I
Email
repeat,
only.
it is email only.
We
Can I
are
have that
too
email?
lazy to answer the phone.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
here we go then. Number 1. There's normally 2 easy ones and a difficult one.
Sure.
So here we go. Number 1. Don't argue with him. He ain't going to change his mind.
Don't argue with him, he ain't going to change his mind.
Yeah, that's AA.
AA.
That's So that's the
Don't argue
first
with him,
one.
He's not going to change his mind. What do you mean, Presumably you've got them written out, haven't you?
I'm just thinking about what the answer is, so I don't write the answer down. To
Oh,
this one.
don't worry, they get it. Yeah, don't worry.
What do you, well, you can't remember it? You came up with it. There's only 3.
I know, it's weird, isn't it?
No, it's not weird. It's incompetent.
Right, the second one, anyway, I hope you get this.
I hope you get this. Email in and tell us the answer.
This is a shambles, isn't
Hang
it?
on a
Come on,
minute.
keep going.
Go on.
He always gets what he wants and doesn't worry about anyone else. P.
And you don't know
You don't know that is?
I'm sure it'll come to me once I see it on email.
What do you mean? Once they get it, you'll agree with them.
I'll know if it's the one I had down as the answer.
This is brilliant.
Come on,
Imagine
it's
Jeremy Paxman doing that, going,
Yeah, University
"What's-
Challenge."
Is that right? Go on.
Right, so that's that one.
Give us that one again.
He always gets what he wants and doesn't worry about anyone else. P.
But you're confused. I don't understand how you can be confused.
Yeah.
Alright, what's the final one?
The third one, I'll have to put that woman in the oven. And that's AB.
Alright, quickly give us them again.
Right, so the first one, don't argue with him, he ain't going to change his mind. That's AA. He always gets what he wants and doesn't worry about anyone else. That's P. And I'll have to put that woman in the oven. AB.
Alright.
Okay.
Ricky.gervais@xfm.co.uk.
I'm going to play a classic track now by
look forward to it.
Neil Young, Alabama. It's beautiful.
Beautiful.
Neil Young, Alabama. Carl is still confused. He's waiting. He's biting his fingers, waiting for an email to tell him the answer to the clue he made up but can't get. I love that as an experiment. As a I mean, that would confuse psychologists, that you come up with something that you can't get. It's brilliant.
Yeah, you came up with the question, you don't know the answer.
And you expect them to, but you can't, and you made it up. Look at your face, like play some adverts. Honestly, Juan, by Billy Corgan's new band there. Ex-Smashing Pumpkins. Sounds a bit like them, but
Yeah.
I like it.
It's alright, not bad.
I like it.
You would seem to know, Rick, incidentally, that someone's got the right answer, so
Carl's
Carl now
relieved.
knows the answer, yeah.
Brilliant. Well done, Carl. You're a fool. Right.
Well, talking of which, it's a long time since we've had any White Van Carl. For those that don't remember this particular hot feature, we basically ask Carl some of the questions that are asked of a white van driver in the Sun. They always have this on Saturday afternoons. Anyway, here's the first one. They're not fascinating, Carl, but I'm just interested on your take, really.
Yeah.
What do you make of Cilla Black quitting Blind Date after her husband sent a message from beyond the grave? You familiar with
I
this
didn't
story?
know that. What's that?
She went to see a medium, and supposedly her husband passed on information through the medium, which was incredibly vague, but persuaded her to quit live on air.
Well, it's about time, isn't it? If even dead people are saying enough's enough. But I'll tell you what, though, talking about ghosts and that, do you know how I'm into them?
Yeah.
Right? How weird do you think this is, right?
Well, it's not true. Before you say it, play a record.
No, go on.
Go on.
Right, it's this woman. I don't even know if it's ghost, really, it's just a bit weird.
Yeah, sure.
There's this woman,
Yeah.
and she's Well, she's not a woman, she's a kid.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
She's walking down like a street in her area. It's a nice day and everything. Everything's normal. She's walking down, and a woman comes up, cycling past. Right? The woman on the bike looks at the kid, absolutely terrified. Right? Got a really scary face on her.
Yeah.
The kid's thinking, why is she doing that?
Yeah.
Right? So anyway, she thinks nothing of it. Goes, I think she was playing in the park or whatever. Goes and has a nice day. About 15 years later.
Oh, right, yeah.
She's, I don't know, I think she was going to work, right, on a bike.
She was riding her own bike.
Riding her own bike, cycling down the road.
Oh, yeah.
Looks at the kid. That's the thing that happened, like, 15, 20 years ago.
Right.
It's her on the bike looking at her as a kid.
Right.
What do you
Not another child.
No. So
Right.
it's her, she's seen
Well,
herself.
Carl? I mean, I don't know where to start.
Firstly, where's this information come from?
But I mean, why do you ever? I mean, I don't know what part of that you think can be true. I mean, honest. I'm speechless. I don't know what to say. What are you talking about?
Bit weird, though, isn't it?
But it's not true.
It didn't happen. Nothing happened like that.
She said it did.
Well,
Who?
then she's wrong.
She said she saw herself.
She saw herself as a kid, didn't she?
Did she carry on riding
And as an
past?
adult when she was a kid.
Did she stop and talk to herself, or did she ride on by and think that's a bit weird? There's me as an 8-year-old. I won't stop. I'll be late for work.
yeah. If I'm late again, the boss said he'd be in trouble.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well,
And where is this information? Did it happen to someone you know?
No,
You overheard it on the bus.
no, it was in the 14 Times.
Ah, right. Well,
Okay.
that's the answer.
Good.
We've
Okay.
got to the bottom of that.
Right. Good. Brilliant.
Now, what do you make of David Blunkett accusing gangster rappers of making kids believe guns are cool? It's a hot topic there, Carl, and I imagine you've got some strong opinions.
He's saying what?
He is saying, basically, that all this rap music is advocating gun use and violence against people, and he's very worried about it.
Nah.
Okay.
All right.
What's the next one?
Have you thought about going into politics? Because I'll tell you this, they wouldn't be able to argue with you, really, in the Houses of Parliament. They'd have where would they start?
Yeah. My fellow is an idiot.
No, but violence has always been about, hasn't it? Like cowboys and Indians, they didn't have PlayStations and Tupac then, and there was still violence.
What do you mean? In the Wild West?
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So you can't really blame it on stuff. It'll always happen. That's that's the world, and it's made up of different types and that.
Again, he's right. Again, he's sort of right in a way, in his innocence, in his buffoonery.
I didn't hear what he said.
He just said there's always been violence. You know what I mean? It's sort
Even
of like,
dinosaurs. Look at them. They caused a lot.
and
of
then he
trouble.
went too far and made himself sound
No,
like a
but,
fool
but
again.
I'm just saying, it's always happened. It always will.
Yeah.
Don't try and change it.
Yeah. Just chill out is what you're saying.
Do you know what we should do? We should all get on our bike, go and find ourselves when we're little, and go. Be careful what you do in life. Oasis, Supersonic, still good.
Still
isn't
as
it?
good as ever.
Still good on XFM 104.9 with Gervais, Steve Merchant, Karl Pilkington.
You'll be pleased, Rick.
Go on.
Ricky Anderson has emailed in.
Dickers!
Dickers Danderson.
Oh,
Yeah,
what are you doing, Dindo?
He's probably our biggest fan.
Diddler, you little diddler!
Exactly. He has emailed in, as ever. Ricky, your show fascinates me. How do you maintain such levels of senseless drivel? That's from Randers, from Randy Anders. as I
Little
call him.
diddle dollars!
Oh! So, thanks again, Dicky,
Dudley.
for that, yeah.
Well done. He's yeah, that's great. I
Nice
get a
stuff,
buzz. I was disappointed last week where he didn't. What? Ask him why he's didn't email
He
us
didn't
last.
respond last week. No, it's a shame.
Probably
that.
busy. I don't believe he had something better to do.
Well, I wouldn't have thought so.
I can't believe that of anyone.
No,
when
no, on
you've
a
got this
Saturday
sort of
afternoon.
level,
Exactly.
intense chat. What have you done this week, Carl?
Well, I've had a few days off, haven't I?
Yeah.
Still, doing stuff for this show and that, but managed to
Well,
get a
not
few
really.
hours in.
Yeah. Not really.
Just doing nothing, and bought a place. I was looking at kitchens.
Yeah.
Weighing some of them up and
Yeah. Checking them out.
checking them out, and also ordered a sofa.
Yeah.
Nice sort of comfy sort of leatherish
Mm-hmm.
sofa.
A leatherish.
Oh, I don't like leather sofas.
No, yeah, but what are you picturing?
A leather sofa.
A leather sofa.
Yeah,
I just
but
don't-
like
it's
what?
squeaky and it's...
No, this isn't. This isn't
it?
No, this isn't like that.
But I want a really old, sinky,
Yeah.
dainty fabric. I want a sofa that is as comfortable as a bed. Do you know what I mean?
Well, if it was acceptable, you'd have a bed in your lounge, wouldn't you? If that was allowed, without seeming like you were sort of, like, elderly, or
That would be
just...
good. And I'd have a drip going in.
Yeah.
Sort of like with nutrients. You know, I can't be bothered to chew.
No, you
just
can't,
lager, sort of lager with sort of vitamins.
Vitamins
and
pumped
then
in, yeah.
and then one going from my knob down to the toilet.
To the lavatory, yeah.
And with all the remote controls. And that would be amazing.
To be fair, you're almost there, Rick. I've certainly seen the toilet tubing when I've been round in the past.
My dad's bed, right? My dad would never change his chair. My mum would try and get rid of it because it would just fit to him and it'd just be absolutely dilapidated, right? And
What,
same
he's
with
like,
his bed.
he had like his own chair in the lane?
Yeah, his own chair, right? And then, and his bed, right? When, they had separate rooms towards the end. And his bed, right? It had it for years. And it was a big dip. It was
Really?
just like a spoon in the middle where it was concaved. Where it said And my mum used to just vacuum it out.
Oh!
Where all the little bits are like, you know, he'd have a fag in bed or he'd do his roll-ups in bed.
Yeah.
And,
Oh,
he
that's
said to
grotesque.
him, why do you like that bed? It's curved, you know, he goes, it means I can't fall out. I did, it was like in a hammock. That's great.
That can't have been good for his back.
Well, I don't think it mattered towards the end of it. Yeah, so, a hammock would be, I really would love a hammock. I think a big beanbag would be good, wouldn't it? With a telly.
A beanbag as big as a bed would be amazing.
Yeah, but this is still the telly thing, because do you prop yourself up a little bit to watch it? Do you watch it on the side, which is annoying? Do you turn the telly on the side?
I've always wondered about that.
The weird thing is, right, you know, I've mentioned before about certain things that are just right, like your hand, 5 fingers is just enough, right? One more,
The sex tips.
it ruins stuff.
Yeah, one less.
One less and you know, I was saying about drying your pots and that, it'd be really slippery and that.
Yeah.
Right? And the weird thing is, right,
I think that's what nature had in its mind.
No,
Yeah.
but like, my mum and dad, right, they moved to this little house, right? And, they had loads of furniture that they've collected over the years without chucking out, and they've moved to this small house. So they just had too much furniture, right? And, they had this double bed, and that was for, like, you know, when friends come round and that, they can stay there. But the problem was he wanted to sort of put these wardrobes in the bedroom, right?
Right.
That went on either side of the bed.
Sort of wrapped around
Because,
the bed.
yeah, but because the room was so small, he thought, I can sort that out,
Yeah.
right? And he sawed the bed.
He sawed the bed.
He sawed the whole thing, so you've got, like, your mattress, your bed, and everything. And
What, he
sort
just sliced some off?
Like a big sandwich, just cut a bit off the
just
edge.
cut the crust off.
About how much is that, would you say?
About 8 inches, 6
About 8
inches.
inches.
But hold on, but that
Well, he
won't
cut
work. Because it'll all fall out the side, and then what happened to the springs and all the supports and stuff?
He
It'll just
sorted it
collapse.
out. It didn't all come out and that. I mean, it's not the comfiest bed. but the weird thing is, he did it, and even though it's only like that 8 inches or whatever, it totally ruined it. It's
Yeah.
like,
Well, of course it would.
no, but what do you think I mean? I don't mean it ruined it as in it looks a mess.
No, it would have been uncomfortable.
Not even that though. Just the fact it's that little bit shorter. It's like, God, for 2 people, this is hard work now. This is like you haven't got enough room, even though it's only 8 inches.
Why did he build the wardrobes first without measuring, putting the...
I think he did all that and then thought, oh, it'll easily fit in there, and it didn't. So he had to sort of saw a bit off the bed. But it's just weird how only 8
Did
inches.
he use one of those electric saws?
Yeah.
And
That's amazing.
presumably there was just kind of
What
sort
did
of
it-
material and wood just flying everywhere.
What did he do with the legs? Did he have to move the legs
He
in
moved,
a bit?
he moved the legs. Looking at it, right, once it's got like the quilt on it and everything, you wouldn't know. I was like,
Sure.
yeah, that's all right, you've done a good job.
Yeah.
And I went to bed at night. He's like, you know, sleep well. Got up in the morning after having about 45 minutes sleep and said, something not right with that.
Yeah.
And he
You
goes, what
really
do you
are
mean?
your father's son, aren't you?
I said,
There's something not
I said,
right
it's
with
not
that.
right. And he said, oh, well, I said, what have you done? It doesn't seem the same. And he said, oh, I had to shorten it, sort of thing, you know, to fit in the gap. I said, well, I can't sleep in it. I said, and there was a big kerfuffle. My mum was saying, look, you have our bed then, and we'll sleep in that one. And my dad was like, sod that,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ruined.
you know.
Some idiot cut it.
So there was a big debate going on about where we should sleep, and I was saying, look, you know, I only come and see you like every couple of, you know, probably once every 6 months.
I'm not being funny, but next time we go home, can I film it? Just for, do you know what I mean, Channel 4 or something?
Well, you know, I mean, the Osbournes is not on at the moment. The
Yeah, I know.
Pilkingtons.
It'd be...
Now that would be extraordinary.
Oh, can we film it?
That's brilliant.
Is anyone from Channel 5 listening to this show?
Or Bravo.
Yeah.
The Pilkingtons.
Weird though.
Play a record?
What do you want to play? Do you want to play, do you fancy playing something of yours?
What, have we got
I
anything?
don't know, something that was sent in to you maybe?
Oh yeah, no, I'll tell you, yeah, I'd like to play this. Yeah, Bronze Age Fox. Band from Bristol, my neck of the woods.
Always
play the
working,
tune,
Carl,
play the tune.
always working. He's
Play the
always
tune.
working. He's on the ball. He's on the ball. He's on the Bobby ball. Coldplay, The Scientist, XFM 104.9. I'm Ricky Gervais with Stephen Merchant and Karl Pilkington. Carl, what are you doing?
I wish that's how you spoke.
Right, what are you doing then?
Let's have a quick reprise, if we could, of the Rockbusters clues.
Yeah, Rockbusters, if you've just tuned in, you've missed it this week. Here's your 3
Well, no,
clues.
you haven't. That's why we're giving the clues again.
Yeah, no, but if they haven't.
Eh?
What?
Say if they've been busy. And
Just give the clues again.
First one.
God.
Don't argue with him, because he isn't going to change his mind. That's AA. Second one, he always gets what he wants and doesn't worry about anyone else. That's P. Yeah. And the third and final one, I might have to put that woman in the oven. AB.
Interesting.
Are we telling him or still?
No.
chance?
People have still got a chance to win those extraordinary prizes. ricky.gervais@xfm.co.uk.
We've
It's
still
email
got
only.
features to come though, Steve. It's
Go on.
incredible. We've still got Ritual. Remember last time? People in India, it's good to have a flathead.
Yes.
We've got Do We Need 'Em? I've got That's Ridiculous.
That's a great game.
What should we do next? What should we do next?
It's too much.
Do we need him out of the way?
Get
Do We Need 'Em out of the way?
Yeah, just
Let's explain it again.
if you're new, I'm sort of on a bit of a mission to find out, we've got a lot of animals and insects in the world and stuff.
Yeah.
Do we need them all?
It still amuses me.
So we've found out we've got to keep jellyfish. We've done octopus. She said we've got to keep them. This week, snails.
Do we need them?
Just doing some research, right? I'm sort of working my way through different creatures and insects and stuff that's on the planet,
Yeah,
right? And finding out if we need them or not, right?
yeah.
Do you know much about snails?
Well, sea snails,
Well, yeah.
snails in general. Don't know much about snails, land snails. Know a bit about sea snails, like whelks, top shells, that sort of thing.
Would you say they're important?
What sort of sense do you mean by important?
Say if we had to sort of get rid of some animals and insects and that because we're running out of room.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Because I'll tell you what I know about some snails. I don't know if this applies to sea snails as well. I mean, I called you today because a lot of other places are shut.
Yeah.
Right? So, I know they like to eat stamps, apparently. The glue on stamps. They love it, right?
Right.
Apparently a lot of letters and stuff aren't getting to where they're meant to be getting because snails are crawling into letterboxes and eating the stamps. That obviously doesn't apply to the sea ones, but that's a problem they're causing.
All right.
Were you aware of that?
No, I didn't know
No?
that.
Bet you're glad you answered the phone today. Right? They love beer,
Beer, yeah, who doesn't?
and also, I don't know if this is right, but I heard that they sleep for 13 years, or can do.
Right, I wouldn't know if they can sleep for 13 years or not, but... I mean, sea snails are pretty important, yeah, they do quite a good job in the sea. They graze on algae and they
But
provide food for other animals. I mean, you can say that about any fish, or any animal. Why do they exist?
would you be upset if, someone said, we're getting rid of them?
Oh yeah.
You would be.
They're an animal, I wouldn't.
Forget being like favouritism and all that I get for them, right? There'll be other things knocking around you can sort of spend your time looking after. You'll still have a job, don't be worrying about that, because I'm not going to get rid of all the fish. Jellyfish need looking after, so you're safe.
Yeah.
But do we need them? Come on, there's loads of people saying, come on, we've got to move on through the animals, and you're holding them up saying, well, I want to keep them.
Well, who's saying we need to? That just sounds a bit crazy to me.
Just imagine. Do you know what I mean? And they would come to you because you work in an aquarium, so they'd be asking for your advice.
Right.
And you're slowing it down.
Well, they asked for my advice, and I'm giving it to them. So that's what I think anyway.
Yeah, but snails, you know, I mean, like I say, they drink beer and that, you know. What did they do apart from some food for a whelk?
They were around. Their descendants were around a lot longer than we have been.
Yeah, they've been around a long time, but what have they done?
Well, they've survived that long, so they must be doing something pretty good.
Well, apparently they sleep for 13 years, so really, even though they've been around for ages...
I think that sounds a bit... I don't think they sleep for 13 years.
Not all of them, just the tired ones. So, snails, do we need them?
Well, yeah, I just think they've got to... Just as, you know, it's not for us to say, do we need them or not, we can't.
So you think we should keep them?
Yeah, definitely.
Carl, I'm proud of you. That was
getting really quite annoyed.
I know. What did he think he was doing? What? I don't know what you tell these people. I mean, you don't get their permission to play this out, do you? You just don't tell
the
them.
thing is, right, I sort of told him what it was about, but we won't say who he is or where he works, because it doesn't matter. I just needed to speak to someone who knows.
I know the fact that you were trying to get an answer out of him by suggesting that he would be safe, because he could look after jellyfish if he gave the okay to destroy snails.
He was getting livid, you could tell.
Oh, God. Brilliant. So he's been around a long time, but what have they done? Well, that was great, Carl. Play a record. Well done.
Bit of Amy Man.
Oh, I'm obsessed with this song, Red Vines. It's brilliant. I love that. Amy Man, Red Vines. XFM 104.9, Ricky Gervais, Steve Merchant, Karl Pilkington.
You mentioned earlier when we had our regular email from Dickie Anderson.
Yeah.
Randers, as I call him.
Dandy son.
Yeah. You mentioned it because we didn't get anything from him last week. We didn't get anything from him last week. Anyway, he's obviously listening. Rich, because he's emailed in to explain his absence. Dear Ricky, sorry for not tuning in last week. Only I was in HMV returning the 14 copies of The Office I got for Christmas. That's from Randers. So, he's explained himself.
Oh,
he's
dear.
excused himself.
Oh, Anders, we should get him on one day.
Yeah.
Right, okay, Carl. That's ridiculous. 3 amazing scientific facts, one of which is spurious. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, 1. Girls can't throw because the part of their brain that allow men to throw properly in a girl is used up in emotion. 2. Gravity isn't instantaneous, it works at the speed of light. The force of gravity. 3. Statistically, you're more likely to be trampled by a donkey than dying in a plane crash.
Now, even though the last one sounds daft, I think I've read that. About the donkey thing.
Okay.
So, girls... What's the first one?
Girls can't throw properly because the part of the brain that allow men to throw is used up in emotion in a woman.
Yeah.
Gravity isn't instantaneous, it works at the speed of light. So when you drop something, the force kicks in at the speed of light.
What do you reckon, Steve?
Well, it's not for me to say.
Is this a trick one where none of them are ridiculous? Or
one of them's one of those 3. One of those 3 is not true.
Right, well, it's definitely not the donkey, right? So, I reckon the girl one, throwing stuff.
Is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Correct.
Well done.
Well
Very
done.
well done indeed.
Yeah.
Very well done indeed.
That's 2 out of 2 he's got so far.
Well, there you go. Well, I'll teach you some stuff now, right?
I've always been fascinated by the donkey fact, because it is an extraordinary fact that more people are killed apparently by donkeys
Yeah.
than they are by airplane crashes.
Well, I suppose in countries where they're used and used a lot, that they go a bit mad and squash it.
But my concern is that there's when you go on a plane, there's so many checks. I mean, it takes them 40 minutes to go through all the checks: the air pressure, the cabin pressure, the fuel, checking the flights, the takeoff, all the rest of it. our checks for donkeys.
Nothing.
Did someone close the gate? I think so.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's our
Is he
donkey
annoyed?
checks.
Is he annoyed or not?
Yeah.
You're not working him too hard, are you? Yeah, yeah. He's got his hand. Is there two holes for the ears? Yes.
Well, I think that's what's happening. I don't think it's accident. I think they're picking us off. I think they're so annoyed that a nickname for them is ass.
Yeah.
And they've got to wear the little hat. You know, they've got to ride give kids rides on the beach and that. I think they're just sort of annoyed.
Yeah.
Maybe they're sort of just picking us off one by one,
Yeah.
teaching us a
There's
lesson.
not. If we had the same stringent checks on
Exactly.
donkeys as we do on international flights, maybe there'd be a little less there.
Exactly. Wise words.
Cheers.
Wise, if slightly incoherent words.
Go on, Carl.
Got that right. Acid. I would sort you out with some science.
Brilliant. I forgot the puns in mind, didn't I? I forgot the puns.
Yeah.
Go on.
Right, so, you asked to sort of be taught some science and that last week after being taught about war, so, did some research. And, there's a few things, I think we'll just cover one of them now.
Go on.
We've talked a lot about hairy kids.
We have
I
discussed that a
love
lot.
the fact that Simon Sharma has never started a programme like that. The Jacobites. We've talked a lot about hairy kids. Go on.
It's a little bit, I mean, it's not your traditional science stuff, but it's still
More left
interesting
field.
and it's a little bit, you know, it's still
Yeah, we
sort
talked
of
about hairy
science.
kids. We have disproportionately, honestly. I think this show's talked about hairy kids more than any other radio
Yeah.
show.
Well, it's one that...
Sorry, I noticed both of you there dropped the H, or the H, or however it's
I
pronounced.
had to, 'cause
So
it-
airy,
airy
obviously
kids, yeah.
hairy.
Yeah.
Hairy children, not
Yeah,
sort of
hairy
airy, kind of light-headed or...
Yeah.
Well, there was the case of the one who lived in China.
Yeah.
And,
Which was weird for two reasons, wasn't it?
yeah.
Well, go on.
One was, like, he was covered in hair,
That's all really weird.
and the doctor sort of checked him over and said, well, yeah, he is hairy, but he's quite healthy, apart from he had a little bit of eczema and a boil. That was the main bit of the story, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But this one, right, we have sort of talked about it, and you weren't having any of it at the time.
What?
This next bit of science I'm telling you about.
Go on then.
Right? Remember when I told you about a lad who was living at home with his mum and dad, right? Everything's, you know, normal life, go to school, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Then, I think his mum and dad had an argument, and it kicked off a bit, and he thought, I'm sick of this. It's happening all the time now. They kept having arguments, so the kid ran off into the woods,
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
right?
God.
Now, he left, he went and ran in the woods, and he ended up living with some monkeys,
Right.
right? And he thought, this isn't a bad life, you know, there's no arguments going on.
Sure.
He was getting on with them. And the
He
weird
loves
thing
bananas.
is, this is where the science bit comes in.
Oh,
Sure.
He grew a load of hair on his body.
That's not true. It's not true.
It is true.
It's an acquired characteristic. It
I bet someone will back me up on this.
But no, you can't. You can't grow hair like that. You might get a little bit more down here. They might the erectile tissue might, they won't fall out as much. That would, but you don't actually grow a big mane if you're cold and you're a human.
Well, he did. This lad did. I know it sounds a bit strange and that, but he was living with the monkeys, and because it was cold, his body reacted to it.
Listen. He was no hairier than he would have been if he was walking around naked on a cold day, with or without living with monkeys.
The fact that he was living with monkeys makes no difference.
No, I know, but I'm trying to get, picture it in your head what it's like.
Although Mickey Dolenz was always pretty hairy.
Right? So he was living with them, and he went into town or something one day
Oh, yeah.
to get some food, and the people there were like, hang on a minute, that isn't a monkey.
Mm.
He went in naked.
No, he was there covered in hair.
Yeah, but naked, but covered in hair, so it was decent. It was.
Yeah. But that was a weird thing. They thought it was a monkey in the shop. And then they
So
went,
presumably he had a big long beard as well, because he couldn't shave, could he?
No, he's just covered. He looked like a monkey.
And they were happy to serve the monkey, were they? There's the monkey, he's
How
buying
did he
a
walk?
newspaper and
How
some
did he
milk.
walk? How did he walk, Carl? Did he walk upright or whistling along?
The picture that I saw on the internet, he was on all fours, but I
Course
don't
he
know
was.
if that's when he was
Course he
running
was.
away after he did sort of, realised he was a kid. But this was a
So
picture.
he was a kid as well. He wasn't even like an adult with the beard.
No, he was a kid.
Brilliant.
And
The
people
beard
went,
kicked in a little bit.
So
earlier.
listen, so the
Go on.
people caught him.
You're an idiot.
The people caught him.
Yeah.
Shaved him. Right. Got it all off. Didn't grow back again.
Right.
It
You're
grew.
an idiot.
Well, like I say, people will have heard this story or read about it.
You're
and
an
they'll-
idiot.
And they'll email in. They don't let me down.
And they'll agree that you're an
And
idiot.
no, they'll have seen the story.
You're an idiot.
So that's a little bit of science.
You're an idiot.
Did you see the stylish kids in the riot? I cherish you, my love.
Libertines, Time for Heroes, and XFM 104.9. Right, okay, so have you got anything that is science, as opposed to nonsense?
Well,
Kid went off with some monkeys, grew hair,
yeah.
came back, shaved him, it didn't grow back. I mean, just think. Right, something else.
There's a few things I found.
Yeah.
There's a fella
Oh, God.
who had hiccups for 69 years. That was a bit annoying.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. There's the dog with the wig that we've discussed.
Imagine if you just tuned in.
Yeah.
There's the dog with the wig that we've already discussed.
Did we discuss that?
Not really.
Did I not tell you what he said? I did, didn't I? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What else have we got? Well, there's something here that you sort of know.
Is this going out live?
Yeah, this is happening, right?
Right, go on.
But remember when you talked about sponges?
Yeah.
If you get a red sponge and a blue sponge.
You liquidise them, pour them back into a tank. After a few hours, they know which was which, and they reform as a red sponge and a blue sponge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was weird when you told me.
Yeah.
Looked it up, did a bit of research.
Yeah.
Thought that's sort of sciencey.
Yeah.
You can do the same thing with a mouse's brain.
Okay. Explain a bit more.
No, you can't.
If you get a dead mouse,
Yeah.
put its brain into a blender, blend it up, leave it standing for a bit.
Making that up, aren't you? You're confusing this. You watched Nigella Lawson make some sort of pudding.
No.
What do you mean? What? It won't work with the brain.
Well, it does with I mean, not human brain. Don't be trying that.
Although.
But, no, a mouse one. A mouse one.
And what happens?
It sort of reforms. Goes back together again. No, it's because apparently it's made up of the same stuff as.
But it doesn't, does it? Because if it's dead, if it's a dead brain, the cells can't act anyway. The fact the sponge is that it doesn't kill the cells, it liquidises them, it doesn't kill the cells.
Yeah.
So it couldn't be a dead brain anyway. It would have to be a live brain taken out from a live mouse for the cells to be getting oxygen and working and being sensitive to each other. And that, I don't see how that could work like it does in sponges.
Mm. I mean, do you know what I mean?
You're not a scientist.
I've just sort of read it and gone, oh, that's interesting. I'll tell Ricky and Steve about it.
Yeah.
You're quizzing me as if I've come up with it.
No.
Someone else has done it and said
Yeah.
it works.
Sure.
So I'm not.
Do you think ghosts are behind it, or do you think there's a scientific explanation for it?
No, it's just one of them weird things, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's what you sort of science covered for this week.
Well, that was another barnstorming feature from Karl Pilkington.
Is that it? Is that the two things you got
Thanks
this
very
week?
much for that.
Well, I mean,
There's nothing behind them. Do you know what I mean by this? There's not like a weight of intellect behind these facts.
Why don't you make that your science project for this week? Find a dead mouse somewhere, Carl, and a blender, and we'll bring that in next week. We'll do it live on air. See what happens.
Oh.
Well,
Do you feel sort of let down a little bit sometimes with our reactions?
What are you expecting us to do? What are you expecting us to just like look at you, open mouthed, staring at you in awe?
just like go, oh God, yeah, where did you find that out? And like,
Yeah, but
Well, we
if we
know,
ask
we
you, you
know.
never tell us.
We know where you found it out. You looked on the internet and a strange homemade website by a maniac somewhere, who puts on stupid things that he heard through Chinese whispers. That's where you get your information from. I doubt that anything you've ever come up with is verified. If it is, it's luck.
But what do you expect me to do for you? Do you know what I mean? I'm just.
You know, I'd like to know what the source of the information is. I'd like it to be, you know, a research study by the University of Columbia, rather than, you know, a guy who calls himself Mr. Pickles. On a website somewhere. www.lunatics.com.
I mean, oh God.
Some kind of evidence, do you know what I mean?
I must warn you now, you know that Steven Spielberg thing's coming, Taken? Yeah? About alien abduction. When you watch it, just remember this, it's not a documentary. Okay?
Alright. And
Alright?
you remember E.T.? We were discussing that earlier. You know that's not fact. For actual fact.
Brilliant. Black Star Radiohead from the Bends on XFM 104.9.
Rick John has emailed in.
Yeah.
It looks here like he's maybe trawled the web himself. I mean, I don't know if people just immediately leap onto the web every time Carl says something in his defence.
I think our listeners are always on the web.
Yeah. Anyway, he seems like he's reprinted here a news story, which seems to confirm Carl's Monkey Boy story.
Yeah, what was the news
Doctors
story?
baffled by boy 6 covered in ape-like hair. Doctors in Kazakhstan are baffled after finding a 6-year-old boy covered in ape-like hair.
Yeah.
The boy, called Ablay, was found in a remote mountain village close to the Chinese border. He's covered in thick hair from head to toe and has an oval-shaped skull. Doctors suspect nuclear radiation or a genetic disorder may be responsible.
Fine.
But it's an interesting bit
But,
here.
but sorry, it's not that you could have genetic defects. I've seen lots of people born with long noses, 5 feet, etc. I'm saying
You've
that
been
he
to
wasn't
Bristol,
normal. he wasn't normal, and then went to live with monkeys and grew the hair.
Well,
That's
no,
my
true.
point.
But it says his mother and father are distant relatives. Such marriages are common in the Kazakhstan mountain hamlets. Now, the village elders were consulted as to what to do with him, right? Now, these are the village elders. These are the wise men of the village. These are the people, presumably, that all year long are telling the village how to live, how to survive,
Yeah, you're
what
in
to
charge
do.
because you've lived longest.
Yeah, exactly. You presumably are solving any kind of moral conundrums,
Yeah.
any sort of awkward things. Do you know what they suggested that they do with their hairy son?
Go on.
Send him to the circus.
The Carl's nodding.
Put him in the circus. That was what they suggested, and the mother actually wanted him to go to school.
Instead of the I
instead
don't know,
of a
school or circus, I don't know. We don't know what's better for him.
Exactly.
I'm not sure.
We must consult the elders.
What do you think, Carl?
It's not a bad life, is it?
What, the circus?
Yeah.
Well, you ran
Kids
away
would
from
love
it.
Kids
Yeah.
would love it. But remember that thing that I saw about that fella who, I don't know if I should talk about it really. It's a bit-
Go on. Tell us now. You've hooked me. Come on. You can say it. It's okay. What, are you worried that it might be insulting to someone?
Well, it's not nice, but...
Well, you're
he
not
made
taking the mickey
most
out of it. You're
it.
telling us to go on.
It's just, it was in that book again that you got me. You know, the book full of weird people.
Go on.
And things that are wrong with them, and hairy people, and
Yeah.
lad with 3 legs and that. There's a fella, basically just a head and a little body on a skateboard.
Yeah.
Right? Picture of him having a shave. And he was shaving with his mouth bit.
With his tongue.
Like that on the radio.
Yeah.
Just like-
Carl is now doing an impression of a man shaving with his mouth.
Yeah. Well, it's just a head, bear in mind. He's doing an impression. Imagine a head with a very tiny body on a skateboard shaving with its tongue. That's what Carl was doing.
And he was depressed because he kept getting hats for Christmas.
But if you were him, you would just grow a beard, wouldn't you, rather than
Oh, God.
rather than go through all
But you
that
get
hassle.
it caught in the wheels of his skateboard.
True. It's what he wants and doesn't worry about anyone else. That was P. That was Pixies. Right?
Picks his. It kind of works, yeah.
And the third one.
Alright, I'll let you have that one.
I'll have to put that woman in an oven. That was AB. That was Anita Baker.
Anita Baker.
It's good.
Anita Baker.
Anita
Yeah,
Baker.
I'll let you have all 3 today.
So
You've done well.
So do you want to pick a winner, Steve?
Well done to Mark Leder from Bow. He wins those fairly mediocre prizes. Enjoy them.
Oh, brilliant.
Oh, well, we've had a few laughs.
We've had a few
tears
laughs, a few tears, a few scientific breakthroughs.
today. Exactly.
Gotta get a picture of Carl somewhere in the national press, just his little round head there.
I had an email here. Carl is trying to distract attention from the fact that he is a monkey raised among humans and horses and has failed to develop hair.
It's, I can just imagine him
Yeah.
being the second cleverest in a troop of monkeys. Do you know what I mean?
Second cleverest.
Do you know what I mean? So,
Picking fleas out of their hair.
oh, look at his little face. I'll tell you what, Heat, I'm gonna get a picture of you. Just put it in the radio section of Heat. Just, this is what Carl looks like.
Oh, another email. Someone said, when the monkey boy went to the shops, he was naked. Where did he keep his money?
Good point. Didn't happen then.
Right. Well,
Oh.
So that's that. We didn't even do all.
What do you mean?
We didn't get round to ritual.
Oh, come on, give us
No, we haven't-
ritual.
we haven't really
We
got
have,
time.
quickly.
No, it's,
We have got time, just do it! Why haven't we got time? It's 10-2.
right. Well, we've got a long track to finish on.
Well, just do it.
It's.
Do it!
Are you familiar with the place called
go on.
Easter Island?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you know what they do out there?
Eat eggs. I don't know.
Well,
Go
that's
on.
close.
Go on.
Right. What they do, right? There's a lot of people living on an island,
Yeah. Easter Island?
and to find out who's going to be running the place, They
don't hold elections, do they?
They have these. Well, they have these birds that lay like expensive eggs on an island.
Expensive eggs. They lay expensive eggs.
Fabergé eggs.
Yeah, yeah. Go on.
On this island.
Yeah. Easter Island?
Once a year. No, off it, like about 2 miles out. Right?
Oh yeah.
And
Whitsun Island.
The sea.
Shrove Tuesday.
Yeah, Pancake Island.
Time,
Just
right?
tell us. No, tell us. Right, finish it now.
Next
You
week.
don't you dare. Oh, I'm
See you later.
Joni Mitchell.
You.
Blue Motel Room from the album
Oh,
Nigeria. It's the song for
God.
ladies this week. Thanks for listening. Next week with Easter Island.